My name is Brittany Munn. I'm currently taking the History of Motion Picture Arts class at Full Sail University, and I've been asked to elaborate on a specific genre for my final project. The zombie genre has become quite a phenomenon in the entertainment industry. We're living in an age where you see it everywhere. It's a fear that we've known since the late 19th century, but along with fear, there's this incredible fan base and almost obsession that has followed. But where did it start? What has caused this global phenomenon of the zombie popularity? And how has the evolution of the zombie genre transformed in film over time? Some people are fascinated by the genre, and others are terrified. Many people say that George Romero was the first filmmaker to bring zombies to the big screen, circa 1968. However, this is not true. Many years before Romero introduced us to the world of zombie films, another version of the undead made its way to the big screen and led the path for what became a huge part of the horror genre in the coming decades. It began with the story of the voodoo zombie, a supposedly supernatural power or spell that makes the living die, and then the unanimated corpse is risen back to life in a form of witchcraft, making the corpse a slave to the sorcerer or doctor who performed the ritual. This version of the voodoo zombie was adapted into the first zombie film, White Zombie, in 1932. And it wasn't until about a decade later that the zombie genre started to evolve. In the 1941 film, King of the Zombies, they were still considered mindless slaves, but they existed among the living. In the mid-50s, films began to experiment with the concept of other causes of the reanimation of a corpse, such as in the film Creature with the Atom Brain, where a gangster uses atomic power to reanimate the dead in the act of revenge. In 1968, George Romero and John Russo brought us the version of a zombie that we're most familiar with. This was the birth of the flesh-eating, slow, limping, deteriorating, and human-craving zombies as we know it. The Night of the Living Dead brought us a whole new world of zombies and created a defining moment in modern horror cinema. Eventually, Romero and Russo split ways and each separately made multiple sequels to The Night of the Living Dead, all of which have been very successful in the industry. In the 70s and 80s, audiences became familiar with certain themes in the genre, specifically the slow, human-craving zombies that Romero has made so popular. In the 90s, zombie films were flooding the box office, with everything from movies that would give you nightmares to the more cheesy type films, such as Dead Men Don't Die, which is about a news reporter who came back from the dead. Either way, people soon became obsessed with the undead. More recently, we've experienced zombie films from another perspective. There are films like Resident Evil and its sequels, which have focused more on the action side of things and fighting back against the zombies.
You're all going to die down here.
And then there's films like Shaun of the Dead, where they took a comedic approach and allowed you to laugh in the face of danger. For the past 80 years, we've seen this genre transform in so many ways. We've seen the good, the bad, the scary, the funny, and everything in between. From 1932 to 2012, we've had 80 great years of the evolution of zombie films.